Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Pokemon fans of the world, MegaCrasher is here, and I want to present you guys with yet another special episode of MegaCrasher's Crazy Pokemon Sun and Moon Pokemon Review / Movesets videos. Whew, I swear to God, that takes a lot out of me to say that shit in one single breath. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, exhaustion aside, I just came home from a 12-hour night shift, and I'm feeling tired as hell, but the thing of it is, man, is that the second that I hit clickety-click-click on my camera, I'm all hyped up, and especially given the fact that this Pokemon that we're going to be breaking down to the fullest of full details in this video gets me especially hyped up. And I'm talking about none other than the final evolution of Poplio, the Water-type starter! And this Pokemon is known as Primarina, aka the apple of my Pokemon eye! So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go over the basics by taking a look at its typing and abilities! Woo! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so getting on to the typing first and foremost, it is Water and Fairy. Which, if you guys played with Azumarill competitively in 6th generation, you would know how good of a typing that is, because Primarina is the second ever Pokemon to have this typing, outside of Azumarill being the first. This typing is crazy. You have a lot of resistances and only a few weaknesses to worry about, but I will be getting into that shortly. Now, we take a look at its abilities. The first ability it gets is known as Torrent, which is a pretty standard ability amongst Water-type starters. And what this does is it powers up Water-type moves by 50% when you are at a third or below of your health, which definitely can work out in a pinch and can make the difference between scoring a 2-hit KO and a 1-hit KO in battle. Now, we have the hidden ability known as Liquid Voice, which is a very, very interesting ability because what this does is it transforms any sound-based moves into water-type moves. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So, this thing, getting access to the likes of Echoed Voice and Hyper Voice, this right here allows for those moves to be turned into water-type moves, which gets Stab also, which I think is pretty damn cool, but that's unfortunately where it ends, because it doesn't work like Pixelate or Refrigerate, where it turns normal-type moves into their respective type moves, gets a 30% boost in the power, and then Stab boosts it even further. But you want to know something? This ability isn't really all that bad, but it is a very, very kind of gimmicky ability and only works with a few moves. So I'm more of a Torrent guy, but then again, I have yet to try out Liquid Voice, and hey, who knows? Maybe Liquid Voice might be my preferred ability to use on Primarina. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move on to the stats! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at these stats. Are these stats not sexy as hell or what? Okay, first of all, it has base 80 on the HP, coupled with the likes of 74 defense and 116 special defense. Now, I gotta say, those are very damn respectable defensive stats. I mean, the 74 base defense may seem a little bit low, but you want to know something? This thing is deceptively bulky when you make the right investments. You almost don't even need to make any investments in its special defense because it's just naturally a special tank to begin with. But then we take a look at its offensive stats. 74 on the attack. It's like, I mean, it's not terrible, but you want to compare it to base 126 special attack. I have a feeling you're going to want to use the 126 special attack, man, because that right there is what's going to make this thing hit so much harder. And fun fact, Primarina is the starter that has the highest special attack out of all of the starters, past and present, and not to mention also has the highest special defense out of all the starters, past and present. So this right here makes double history, 2 birds with 1 stone, man. It is so awesome. You got 2 for the price of 1, essentially, in this Pokemon. Now, its speed. Its speed is at base 60. Which, I mean, you know what? I mean, this thing doesn't really look like it's a fast Pokemon, so I mean, base 60 speed kind of fits it with it design-wise, but it's a little bit disappointing. I mean, even if it had something like base 70 or base 80 speed, I think that would have been pretty damn cool. But the thing of it is, it's really not that bad, considering that this thing is relatively bulky, and this thing is meant to take on other bulky Pokemon and leave huge dents in teams. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to move on to the resistances and the weaknesses, baby! Woo! So just seriously take a moment and drink this in. Take a look at these weaknesses to resistances. Okay, first of all, it only has 3 weaknesses, that being the poison, grass, and electric, which means right off the bat, these resistances can definitely more than make up the difference. And the thing of it is that if you know how to build a team correctly around the likes of Primarina, then these weaknesses are going to be obsolete. So first of all, you only have 3 weaknesses versus 6 resistances and an immunity. So 7 resistances essentially, if we're going to count the immunity as a resistance too. It has an immunity to Dragon, which is very, very amazing and puts this Pokemon in a league of its own already. We take a look at the resistances. It's resistant to the likes of fighting, bug, fire, water, ice, and dark. I mean, do I even need to say anything else about that? You have so many opportunities to switch in, eat up a hit, and then just fire a really, really nasty hit right back, man. Woo! But ladies and gentlemen, we are just skimming the tip of the Avalugg, because now it is time for me to go into Pokemon Showdown and demonstrate some of these sets that Primarina can use to the best of its ability to make this one of the best Pokemon in battle! Woo! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now that we're here on Pokemon Showdown, it is time now to get into the meat and potatoes and just grind out the best bit of this video, in my opinion. That being the sets and the ideas that revolve around Primarina and its function in battle. So the first set that I have for you guys is an all-out Choice Specs set. No nonsense, no messing around. Pretty much blast the hell out of whatever is standing in front of you. So the first thing that we go over is the item, Choice Specs. Yeah, Choice Specs GG, because this increases your special attack by 50% while locking you into that single move. And we take a look at its ability, Torrent. When this Pokemon is at a third or less of its maximum HP, its water attacks do 50% more damage. So if you're knocked down within Torrent range and you got Choice Specs boosting, look at this, Hydro Pump. Base 110 power, water type special attack. And you take a look at this, okay? I know I'm kind of going around all over the place here, but you take a look at the sexy as hell 386 special attack. Choice Specs, Stab, Torrent boosted Hydro Pumps. Good fucking god, man, that's crazy! But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's not the only selling point about this set right here. We also have Scald, which is a base 80 power move with a 30% chance to burn. Not to mention, if you somehow end up getting frozen, this move thaws you out, which is very, very useful for utility in a pinch if you are to be frozen. So, the next move we have is Moonblast, which complements it very well. The fact that this has a Water Fairy typing, Moonblast gets Stab, has a 30% chance to lower the target's special attack by 1 stage, making you essentially just that much more of a special tank. And the last move, I prefer Ice Beam because this allows for you to smack the hell out of them fat, bulky grass-type Pokemon that try to switch in on you. Now, of course, there are other options, which I'll be going over later on in this video. Now, we take a look at the EV spread right here. I have more of a specific EV spread right here. You take a look, I have 88 speed EVs, and we have 178 speed. This speed is meant to speed creep uninvested base 70 speed Pokemon like Skarmory. If Skarmory tries to set up on you, whether it be through hazards or whatever, the thing can blast it away with Hydro Pump. In fact, you don't even need to do Hydro Pump, man. You can blast it away with Scald. Choice Specs boosted Scald, having a high percentage chance to burn it. And, of course, it can try to roost off and all that stuff, but it's not going to want to stay in and take repeated abuse, man. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, like that right there is just an option right here. I mean, you could say, screw speed, go balls to the walls with max bulk, max HP, so that way you can be as tanky as possible while hitting hard. we have max HP, max special attack, or the set that I had earlier, you know, sacrifice a little bit of your HP bulk and put it into your speed. If you're looking to speed creep certain Pokemon, I mean, it doesn't just have to be base 70 speed Pokemon, it could be base 80, like, the choice is up to you, you know what I'm saying? But this right here is just something that you can play around with and experiment with and see what really works best for you. So ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, we have ourselves a very unlikely set. That being a Choice Scarf set. Now hear me out on this, okay? Like, Choice Scarf on a base 60 speed Pokemon may seem like a bit of a waste. But this right here can honestly catch your opponents by surprise if they think that they're naturally going to be able to outspeed you. But when they see that you're zipping past them because of a Choice Scarf and max speed timid nature, whoo-hoo, shit, man, that is where mind games start getting pretty damn crazy. So Choice Scarf, like Choice Specs, locks you into one move, but Choice Scarf increases your speed by 50%. And given the investment that we have right here for stats, we have a timid nature, which maximizes your speed even further. And then we got max speed, 240 speed, multiply that by 50%, and you have 360 speed. So you will be able to outpace neutral nature base 130 speed Pokemon. And I just gotta say, that's pretty damn cool. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, getting back on track here, the ability is going to be Torrent, making it so that if you are in a pinch and you are at a third or below of your health, that will make your water type attacks deal so much more damage. So we have ourselves the same set as we do with the Choice Spec set. This right here is going to be Hydro Pump, Skull, Moonblast, Ice Beam, just so that you can have yourself really good coverage, really good stab options, and all that good stuff. And then we have ourselves No Nonsense. We have max special attack, max speed, 4 special defense, and a timid nature, and nothing more really to say about that. Oh, and by the way, for the Choice Spec set, you might want to run Modest, because that's how you get an extremely high special attack. Even more so than it does naturally, man. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, we take a look at more of a defensive approach for Primarina. Now, you're probably thinking, whoa, 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 Mega Crash, what are you doing, man? I mean, this thing is meant to be a hard hitter, but it's not really meant to be, you know, that much of a tank. Whoa, contrary to that, my friends, I think that this set can definitely make it work. Now, check me out on this. If you paid attention to the amount of resistances slash immunities this thing has a lot of switching potential and a lot of ways to tank up hits. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. So Leftovers is going to be our item of choice, which allows for you to have a little bit of extra health recovery at the end of each turn. The ability, once again, is going to be Torrent. Although, if you were to use something like Liquid Voice, you could go for something like Hyper Voice here. Let's see where it's at. So we have Hyper Voice here, which, by the way, since it's a sound move, you actually hit through substitutes, which is pretty damn amazing. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the choice is really up to you. If you're going for Torrent, then run Scald. However, if you're running Liquid Voice, then run Hyper Voice. But it's really up to you. Personally, I like to run Torrent with Scald because you also have that high percentage chance to burn. So let's just go ahead and put that back there real quick. Up next, we have ourselves Moonblast so that we can have dual stab here in this set. And then we have Rest and Sleep Talk. Now, do I even need to say what Rest and Sleep Talk is for? This is a Rest Sleep Talk tanky attacking set. Rest allows for you to restore your HP and status to 100% perfection, but of course you are asleep for 2 turns. But see, that is where Rest Talk comes into play, and this can be only used while you're asleep. And while you're asleep and you use Sleep Talk, this chooses any of your moves at random, and this right here makes this Pokemon just extra tricky to take down. So we take a look at the EV spread right here. Now, I want to run max defense. That way, this will have more of a mixed, bulky kind of approach to this set right here. And plus, you're going to want to patch up that base 74 defense because it's not really going to be doing Primarina any favors to be taking physical hits when it doesn't have the proper investment. So we have 248 EVs into its HP so that it will have an odd HP number, so that way you will have more hazard switch-ins. We have 252 defense EVs and 8 special defense EVs. That way you can give a little more special bulk. However, if you want to run a calm nature here and just kind of tweak up the EVs a little bit, like maybe take away some of the defense and put some into special defense so you can take special hits better, it's really up to you. and depending on what your team has and what it lacks, then this right here could definitely be the game changer right here, depending on the kind of EVs that you want to have Primarina to have, if it is going to be a tank that is going to be the go-to tank when it comes to taking hits in battle. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, this isn't really so much of a set, but this right here, these 3 Primarinas right here are meant to showcase the amount of utility that it has. And you pair this with the likes of Liquid Voice. Check me out on this. So, Liquid Voice, like I said, this turns the Pokemon's sound-based moves into water-type moves. So that means moves like Hyper Voice and Echoed Voice go from normal type to water type. Now, unfortunately, like I said before, it doesn't work like Pixelate, where it gives you an increased boost on top of Stab, which would make Liquid Voice a little bit better of an ability. But you want to know something? It's really not that bad. So anyways, we take a look at Hyper Voice and Echoed Voice. Those get turned into water type moves. Perish Song, okay? Perish Song actually gets turned into a water type move. Now the thing of it is that you're probably thinking, whoa, Mega Crasher, why would Liquid Voice and Perish Song be so beneficial? Well, check this out. This Pokemon could actually be a doubles player right here. And the thing of it is if you are paired with a Pokemon with Water Absorb and Perish Song hits, all the Pokemon on the field are going to hear it, and that means that Water Absorb is going to activate and restore 25% of your partner's health, which definitely can be very, very useful in battle. So up next, we have ourselves the likes of Encore, which allows for your opponent to basically be locked into the last attack they use for 3 turns. So that means that you could essentially either force a switch and get the switch advantage, or you could actually set up in some way, shape, and form and be able to play serious mind games with your opponents with the likes of Encore and all that good stuff. So, we take a look at more coverage that this thing has. Okay, this thing has Energy Ball, okay? If you are worried about other bulky Water-type Pokemon plaguing your team, and Primarina is the go-to Pokemon when it comes to just absolute slaughter, Choice Specs Energy Ball is going to be hitting hard. Up next, we have ourselves Psychic. Psychic destroys Poison-type Pokemon like Venusaur, which would otherwise give Primarina huge problems and would only take neutral damage, essentially, from Ice Beam because of its thick, fat ability. But with the likes of Psychic, well, it's still going to be very much weak to Psychic. Up next, we have ourselves the likes of Shadow Ball, which allows for you to score super effective damage against the likes of Psychic and Ghost-type Pokemon, so Shadow Ball can also be a really good option if your team struggles with Ghost-type Pokemon. And then we have ourselves Hidden Power. Now, Hidden Power can actually be used in multiple ways. Like, you can use something like Hidden Power Electric, Hidden Power Fire, let's see, what else? Like, there's a lot of potential for Hidden Power. Like, you can use Hidden Power Fighting, Hidden Power Flying, Hidden Power Ground, Hidden Power Poison, you know, to kind of troll other Fairy-type Pokemon. You know, the list goes on. Hidden Power Rock, so for any Talonflame switch-ins and all that stuff, although Hydro Pump kind of bops Talonflame, no questions about it. But, you know, just to kind of showcase the extensiveness and the versatility of Hidden Power on the likes of Primarina, Hidden Power can definitely be a really valuable option in battle when it comes to making up for a lack of coverage that your team has. Now, lastly, I want to showcase more moves that you can use from Primarina as more of a supportive / defensive Pokemon. This thing has both access to Reflect and Light Screen, which halves the damage of the respective moves by 50%, so Reflect will have the damage of physical moves, and Light Screen will end up having the damage of special moves. So, you pair this with the likes of Light Clay, which actually, if we just go ahead and type this in, Light Clay will actually end up increasing the duration of Reflect and Light Screen from 5 turns to 8. So that right there could definitely be awesome. And another option that you could use for the likes of Primarina would something be like Toxic. So if you are predicting like a really fat switch in, like either something to the likes of Clefable, to the likes of Tangrowth, you know, any bulky water or grass type Pokemon that think that they can take hits from you, you can just slap them with Toxic and be like, yeah, well, you're on a timer now, bitch. And then lastly, we have Substitute. Now, Substitute does go very well with Primarina because of the fact that this thing is especially bulky. So if this thing was to switch into a resisted special hit, and say if your opponent was, say, choice locked, you could easily set up a Substitute well, you either take a hit repeatedly or they switch out, and then that's when you have an advantage because you are hiding safely behind a substitute. You can't be status, you can't be leech seeded, you can't have your items tricked from you. So, you know, that right there is also something to consider. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what's going to conclude this video. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you fire off a like, because of the fact that Primarina is the apple of my Pokemon eye, and it is without a doubt one of my top favorite Pokemon in 7th generation, and also out of the 3, by a very, very hairline margin, my favorite starter Pokemon. I gotta say, Decidueye and Incineroar, like, honestly, like, all of them are my favorite, but Primarina etches them out ever so slightly because of the design and the typing. So let's see if we can aim for 30 likes. I know that's a pretty high like goal, but we can do this, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want more content like this, make sure you rate, comment, share this video, and subscribe today to MegaCrasher's in the community for the best, and I mean without a shadow of a doubt, the best Pokemon Sun and Moon news hype that there is today on YouTube, and just overall the best hype and entertainment that you can find right now, right here, when it comes to Pokemon content done by this crazy nut house known as MegaCrasher, because you guys don't know the deal by now, my friends. When we're community type telling this one, you know that we shine brighter than the sun and the moon combined. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next up, though.